Welcome back to the Bluegrass. It's beautiful January afternoon. I have my usual cast of characters up here. I have a couple of black labs. I got a border collie black lab mix. I have an English Labrador Retriever. It's kind of white, yellow. I have a German short hair pointer, and of course I have Hunter, my daughter's Jack Russell Terrier. But this is the dog that we're talking about today, and this is a little fluff ball. You don't see very many of these. This is a Lagotto Romagnolo. Now, listen, don't give me a hard time. That's I'm pronouncing that as just as good as I can. So if you got a better pronunciation, and put it down below, and we'll all be smarter for it. Okay, but what we're doing today is we're going to take this little dog over to my farm. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what this dog is, this is an Italian dog that is bred to be a truffle hunter. Now, these little dogs started off supposedly as waterfowl hunters, and I always question that a little bit. See this coat on this dog, these curly coats? People that have the poodles and the Spanish water dogs and the Portuguese water dogs, they always talk about them like getting in the water. But this, my personal experience is that when they get in the water, they're like wet forever, and they get mud and they get debris in their coats, and it's a lot of trouble. So we are going to take a black Labrador Retriever, a yellow Labrador Retriever, and this brown Lagotto Romagnolo over to my farm, and we're just going to walk around for a little while. And as we're walking around, we're going to compare and contrast, and then, you know, at the end of the video, maybe you guys can decide whether a Lagotto is right for your situation or not. All right, now before we go, we'll go ahead and, come on nerd, and review our vocabulary and our physical skills. For those of you who are familiar with my channel, you'll know that I use this little course, which we call the Exercise with Small Challenges course, to teach a dog's vocabulary that we think is important for navigating everyday activities. And the thing about a vocabulary, or a set of words that a dog knows, is the words really aren't much use if the dogs can't do the things that are expected in a broad range of physical activities. So always, before I head out, I like to review my vocabulary, and I like to review my physical skill set. Hup, hup, hup. Now, what is the vocabulary around here? Come, let's go, hup, easy, wait, and stay. Super simple. So when we go on our little adventure, for me to be able to let this dog off a leash and let it roam around my farm, and I need to know it's going to come back, right? Now, when we're out there, there's going to be some situations, because the way my farm is around a bluff and stuff, and it can be a little dangerous for these suburban dogs. She's got to be on the leash. So if I say, let's go, I got to be able to put a leash on her, and her walk on the leash politely on a slack lead. Hup, that's a catch-all term we use for negotiating obstacles. Hup, hup, just like that. Very nice. Hup, wait. This is super important. Like, it's a truffle hunting dog. It might, I don't know if there's any truffles in Kentucky or not, but it might smell a truffle that's way off down in a gully somewhere, and I might say, wait, let's find a nice, easy way down, you know. Easy. It brings us to our next word, easy. Easy is what I tell dogs when I want them to, like, be very careful with their feet, right? So when we're out hunting truffles on my farm, we might go across some old logs, or we might have to go, you know, across the creek, and I want to be able to say to the dog, hey, easy, you know, watch what you're doing. Don't get in a hurry. Don't fall down and make work for us. And then, of course, sometimes we're just going to have to be able to tell the dog stay. So I'm going to have to say stay, and then I'm going to have to be able to leave the dog, go do something, get something out of the truck, and come back and expect the dog to be there. Now, so this dog's vocabulary is pretty good. She's pretty strong on everything except her stay. And we're still working on that a little bit. And as we're walking around the farm and we're talking about the breed-specific tendencies of this type of dog, then we'll talk about why it can be a little bit hard to get, say, a Lagotto or a German short-hair pointer to have a perfect stay. I know a lot of you get frustrated because you watch YouTube videos, and like you'll see the dog trainers, and the dog trainer will have like a border collie or a lab, and they're like, you know, their obedience is perfect, and they have the ability they have a lot of impulse control, they have a lot of attention span at a young age and stuff. And then you'll get to working with your dog. Say you have one of these, you know, I call them Range Rover dogs, these fancy breeds, and or say you have a bird dog, you know, and you're like, Stoney, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm doing everything the trainers are doing, but my dog won't stay. Well, I mean, you just kind of bought an impulsive dog, right? And so you have to understand that your timeline expectations in relation to the dog having exceptionally good impulse control and and attention span just has to be longer, okay? Like you see when I went to, you know, tell that Lagotto to stay, like she had to get up and like see, Stonnie, are you going somewhere? You know, and part of that is the impulsive breed, and part of it is that they're very clingy. You know, when that dog first got here, like she hid under her owner's chair, like for the whole time. And then the first week she was here, any loud noises, anything strange in the environment, she would go hide, and we'd have to go dig her out from underneath the fence line, you know. But once she came out of her shell, then like that's where you start thinking dogs are loyal because they follow you around all the time. And really that's just usually because they're a little bit insecure. But she sure makes you feel loved because you can't even go to the potty without her going with you. All right, well, enough talking. Let's go to the farm and have a big adventure. Okay guys, we are over at our adventure spot, and one of the first things you're going to notice is these two labs are looking at me, and Tosca will come back periodically and look at me, but most of the time as we're walking, you're only going to catch fleeting glimpses of her because she's going to be zigzagging in and out of the frame, because all these nose dogs, these dogs that are bred to be big smellers, when you take them out into a stimulus-rich environment, they have a really hard time concentrating because their nose is just sucking up so much information that their brains are kind of running in 100 different directions, okay? So we're going to take a walk up here, and hopefully, Tosca, come on, we're going this way. Hopefully we can find enough interesting things on this path, and these other dogs will be enough of an influence on Tosca that she'll actually follow us and use her nose for our advantage. Because you got to remember, you know, these dogs are bred to go out in the woods and hunt for truffles. And if we're lucky, we'll find a truffle today. I won't actually know if we find a truffle or not because I'm not sure what a truffle is. Somebody said it's like a tuber, and I think a tuber is like a potato. So if this dog finds a potato today, we'll call that a win. But the main thing that's going to be hard is getting this dog in the actual camera frame, because her nose is telling her to go that way. And when you have a dog that's bred to go find things with their nose, basically what you've done is you've bred a dog that is used to people, you know, or that comes pre-programmed for people to follow it. So this video might not be as good as I had hoped. Hey, Tosca, come on. She gives me too hard a time. I'll stick a long line on her so that I can make sure you guys can see her. Oh, here she comes. What a good dog. Come on, Tosca. You're a very good dog. I'm gonna have to give her a little treat. Let her know I'm happy with her coming. Okay, so here we go, headed up the hiking trail. Now, my normal MO here is I let the dogs get to what I consider a comfortable distance, and then I'll whistle for them and have them come back. Now, if the camera work seems a little shaky today, it's because it's pretty slippery out here. Now, I don't know if you can see, Labrador, there goes a Jack Russell, and there goes Tosca. So I'm gonna try to whistle for Tosca. Tosca, come. Come on. Tell her I'd like for her to check in. She comes back, I'm gonna say, hey, I appreciate you coming back quickly. And now her big reward in that situation is that she gets to go back to smelling. Very good dogs. They're very good dogs. Now on this walk, basically, kind of some of the things that we want to think about is what's it like to take a dog, take a walk with a Lagotto versus a Labrador Retriever. And the reason I always bring these Labrador Retrievers out is because everybody has experience with Labrador Retrievers, so they kind of provide a nice baseline of comparison. Also, we use Labrador Retrievers as our mentor dogs because they're very predictable, they're easy to motivate, they get along well with the other dogs. And then we have this terrier thrown in just because my daughter decided she needed a Jack Russell, and he presents his own set of problems. But there goes Tosca, and guys, watch and notice that her nose is always to the ground. Tosca, come on. Now we've got about, I don't know, 1,000 sessions with it, working on a recall, so that's pretty good. When she first got here, we couldn't come over to our hiking spot because noises and stuff scared her, and she would run off and hide, And that's one of the things, if you're thinking about getting one of these Lagottos, they're not, I've had 4 out at my kennel over the years, so I'm no expert on them. But the ones I've seen, and I also owned a Spanish water dog, which is a very similar kind of dog, I think. They're not the bravest dogs in the world, right? They're pretty timid. And I know that some of you guys are gonna, not like that word, but they are. They're scaredy cats, okay? And so when they're young, it's really imperative that you get a ton of socialization, because this is what ends up happening. Come on. They get over here and her nose takes her off and she's doing some adventuring. She's looking for some things. She's finding some things. And then if something scares her, then they get excited and they dart off and they'll bury up under something, and then you can't find them, Now, over the weeks, her confidence has improved 1,000%. So I don't think it's going to be an issue as she matures, but in the short run, it was pretty problematic. Now, that's about far enough, so she's up there at the top of that hill. And here comes, come on, come on. Oh my gosh, very good dogs. There she comes. And her recall is pretty good right now. One of the things though that you have to think about, whenever you're like, you get one of these dogs, I call them, kind of nose dogs, big nose dogs, because when you have a dog whose like behavior is driven by its olfactory system, then even if you get a really good recall on them, you kind of end up having what's called a yo-yo effect. Like we can come out here and hike with No Name or any of these English labs, and I don't really have to do much because they just don't go very far. I don't have to like go find them, right? But if I come out here with a short hair, if I come out here with a pointer, if I come out here with an English setter, if I come out here with this Lagotto, I'm constantly having to yo-yo the dog back with me. I can't depend on the dog just not to go like somewhere that it's not supposed to go, right? And that's something that we've really worked on her with. When we would go back at the kennel into our pre-adventure area, sometimes she would just put her nose to the ground and like she would just get to going. She would get down into the creek and we would call for her and call for her and call for her. But dogs that have a really enhanced olfactory system, kind of when that nose gets going, they shut their ears off. And so we'd have to walk down through the creek and we'd find her. There she'd be digging a hole. And that's another thing. If you get one of these Lagottos, guys, just be ready for them to dig in your mulch and dig in your backyard and have muddy feet and all this hair around their face to be muddy all the time. We spend a lot of time cleaning up this dog's paws and its feet. Come on dogs. Very good. Very good dog. So she gets off to a distance where I start feeling a little uncomfortable. Come on, come on. And one of the things you'll notice is like I give the dog at this stage of their training, not forever, but for this stage of training, I'm kind of consistently giving her more treats than I'm giving these other dogs. Eventually, that the recalls kind of start becoming self-reinforcing because the dog understands that if it'll come back quickly, it buys itself more freedom time. I use a car wash analogy when I'm explaining that at my place. You ever like been washing your car and so you're washing your car and the car wash starts beeping at you, beep, 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 and you got to run over there and put some more quarters in it, okay? Well, you buy yourself some more time. Well, kind of the deal I make with these dogs when we're going on these big adventures and hikes is when I start beeping at them, come on dogs, if they'll come back, they buy themselves more time. So you see how quickly these dogs came back? So here's a little treat for them, right? Okay, but the big treat in this instance is that they get to go on about their adventuring. I call those kind of like freedom deposits, right? So they make a deposit in the freedom meter, and then the freedom meter gives them more time. Hey, think about going off in there, No Name. It's a long way down. Then you have to climb all the way up. Very good dogs. Very good dogs. Okay, now be real careful through here, cameraman. You have to walk right here because under this snow, it's ice on both sides. All right, so the dogs they got up there a little too far. And so I'm gonna make them make a deposit in the freedom machine, the freedom meter. Here, dogs. Come on. Come on, very good dogs. Two very good dogs. Give them a little treat, appreciate it, and then we'll go on about our business. Now notice when I blow that whistle, like Hunter doesn't run over here to get a treat, okay? He doesn't run over here to get a treat because his whole life, you know, he's been going on these hikes with us, and he's well past the point of needing food work for reinforcement for his recalls. People all the time ask me about food work programs, and they say, Stonnie, do we have to use the treats forever? No, not if you use a system like we use. We use a system based on volume. What we're trying to do when a dog comes to stay with us is we're trying to get so much training volume that we reach what's known as the habituation threshold, at which point the recalls and the other parts of our vocabulary that we work on become a habit, right? And habit is the strongest motivator in the world. You know, that's why people have so much trouble breaking bad habits. Oh, and which also is why we don't take very many older dogs, because like it's really hard to break bad habits, you know? Anybody in the dog business that says 5 minutes to this, 1 week to that, you know, solve this problem in 4 easy exercises, they're all lying. Just don't even, just turn your YouTube off when you start seeing that stuff pop up. Because dog training is all based on volume, you know. You have to put in the work to get the results. Very nice dogs. Yeah. This is what happens to us sometimes. I don't know, you probably can't see here, but can you turn and look down that gully there, cameraman? So, like a lot of times, like the dogs will get down there when they're puppies, and like it doesn't, you probably can't tell how steep that is, you know, via the camera, but it's really steep. And so like this little dog, he'll get way down there, and then the other dogs will run off and leave them, the ones that have been out here longer, and they'll get to yipping and yapping. And once a dog feels like it can't get up the hill, then they really can't, because that's life, right? Like if you feel you can't do anything, or if you feel you can't do something, then you can't do it. And so we'll have to go down there and pet on them and love on them and give them a little confidence. And then we can hike up the hill, and then they'll follow us up. And then once that's happened one time, well, they're good to go. Now again, dog's getting away a little bit too far, so watch. Here, dogs. They're gonna come back, put some tokens in the freedom meter. Oh my gosh, good dogs. Come on, come on. Very nice dogs. Dogs are very good dogs. Appreciate it, appreciate it. And look at Hunter, he didn't even like act like he wanted a treat. Now No Name, he wouldn't mind a treat, but what he really wants is for me to throw a ball or some other retrieving item. The reason I'm not throwing stuff for No Name right now is because he'll run off down this gully. Oh, and then that Lagotto will run down there too, and I'll have to climb down there, and my big toe is hurting. You might say, well, Uncle Stonnie, why is your big toe hurting? So my son wrestles, right? We got a whole big campaign going on in Kentucky so that we can get George to wrestle, be able to wrestle in the state tournament because he's homeschooled. But like, so I help him, you know, I help him wrestle. And when you're wrestling, like when you're taking wrestling shots, you drive off of your toe. Well, after years of that, you get what's called turf toe, and your big toe hurts so much that you can't hardly walk. And so like the idea of having to limp myself up that hill there, it doesn't appeal to me today. Now they get up there a little ways, and I call them. Oh my gosh, very good dogs. And No Name's first. Oh, the Lagotto's pretty fast. I'm hoping as we get up here close to the river, we can that dog will get a little tired and stay a little closer so that we can show you how she like moves around, how she runs. Like if you'll notice when you see her, when she's running, like it's like she's not even using her eyes hardly. Her nose, she's being led by the nose, you know. So trying to be on the lookout for that as we walk up this path. But once we get up here, hopefully we can get you some close-up shots. I know it's kind of hard, you know, like see a brown dog out here in all this brownness, but like it's the best we can do this time of year. All right, now we're getting off into the sunlight a little bit, so you guys will get a little bit better look at the dog. This right here, when you go hiking with a Lagotto, that's basically what you're gonna see. Head down, looking for holes to dig. Maybe she's finding truffles. Like I said, I wouldn't know. I'm not sure what a truffle is. But if we run up on anything that looks like a potato, we know we've won. Now, look here. Come here, cameraman. Let me show you. If you'll back that video up a little bit, and you'll see that Tosca went to go through here. You see this set of briars here, right? Okay, so when she went to go through there, those briars caught in her hair. And this is what I was telling you guys. Like, say a little, you know, they'll get into a little briar bush or sticker bush, and just something that small. And see, it's kind of brown. Okay, something that small will work its way down inside those tight curls, and then those little briars are sitting against the skin, and it causes a, you know, just a little scratch at first. But see, then the dogs go to licking it or scratching at it, and when they lick and scratch, they introduce bacteria, you know, from the dirt. Next thing you know, they'll get a giant hot spot like this big, just basically a, you know, a staph infection, and it can be really, really dangerous. Very nice dog. You're a very good dog. Tosca, come here. Come on, Tosca. Let me show you guys again. Oh, no, come here. Come here, Tosca, come here. Come here, come here. Oh, see, she seemed a little flighty about getting a hold of her. See, look, got something stuck in her fur. So then I had to pick her up and pull that out. And then she's like, Stonnie, I don't want you to get me because you're gonna hurt me. So that's another problem of having a coated breed, is that like when you're out and about doing stuff with them, like sometimes you have to make them a little uncomfortable, and then you take a already a little bit of a timid dog and you go to pulling stuff out of their fur, and then they start thinking you're gonna, like when you call them, you're gonna pick them up and pull stuff out of their fur. And if you don't do it just right, you end up like with a dog that doesn't really want to come close to you. And I'm sure you guys have seen that a lot. Somebody will call the dog and it'll come to about 5 or 6 feet in front of them, but it like stops and shies away, or won't let them put them on the leash or whatever. Now you can't see this on the camera, but there's deer tracks all up and down through here. So that's one of the things that the dogs are after all the time, is the deer. All right, we'll go up here and I'll show you guys one of our favorite adventure spots. Come on, Tosca, come on, come on. Tosca, come. Now see right there where she blew me off? She's saying, I got things to do. And she's back following her nose. Come on, Tosca, come on, babies, come on. So I got to give her a little extra encouragement. Oh my gosh, very nice. Really, the key with these dogs, you want, like when they're off the leash, is you have to convince them that you have their best interest at heart, and that's, you know, it's not always easy. So this summer, we're gonna have tons of kids out here cleaning stuff up, teaching them about the various types of trees. And down here, cameraman, go over here and show them. So guys, this is why we bought this place. Right down through here, right off this bluff, is the river. And so we're building a big outlook over the river, and it's gonna be awesome. Then we have a boat ramp way, just right up that way. But if you can come down this way, cameraman, kind of give them a view across the river. And so this is what we do, guys. We just come, hang out, and do dog adventuring and homeschool teaching and other good fun stuff. Isn't that neat though? All right. Okay, so we are going to break right now, and I'm going to play with these dogs. I'm going to kind of show them this tree over here, cameraman. Like you guys will see, there's a lot of fallen trees here. And remember, earlier we were on the Exercise with Small Challenges course. Well, this is our real life Exercise with Small Challenges course. Right? It is like real life challenges. And so we're going to take a little bit of time, and we are going to, you know, transfer the skills that we started over at the kennel into real life. All right, now I'm going to put our vocabulary to use. All right, and we're going to start on this old rotten log here if Uncle Stonnie doesn't fall down. Come on, up, up, up. Very nice. Now, you'll notice, come on, up, up, up. You'll notice that the vocabulary that I personally use is very conversational. When I'm out adventuring with the dogs, come on, Tosca, you can do it. I don't want to sound bossy, you know. I want to sound just like I would sound if you guys were out here hanging out with me, you know. So, like if you come hang out with Uncle Stonnie, we're going to go party. And this is the kind of partying that we do. So, you know, why would I want to sound bossy? I just want to say, hey, I'm going to go have a good time. I want you to tag along. Now, sometimes I have to tell you something's off limits just because you're a city slicker and you might not know, you know, what's a good idea or a bad idea. And so when I'm walking with this dog, I'm going to put her in a bunch of situations. Go around that way just a little bit, cameraman. I'm going to go up those rocks. I'm going to put her in a bunch of situations where I can encourage her to do something that's a little risky, but not so risky that I'm liable to induce failure, you know. So look at these rocks, they're pretty slippery. So what happens around here, these kind of rocks kind of break off these little like plates like this. So as we go up, dog has to learn, they have to get experience of walking in these low traction environments. Come on, come on. Now you'll notice with the other dogs, I don't have them on leashes. Well, that's because they have a lot more experience. You know, after I've been able to bring Tosca over here a week or two, then she won't need to be on a leash even when we're doing these kind of things. Oh. Very nice. So look, I just choose me a little goal, like see this little rock outcrop here? I might just bring Tosca right out to here and just let her get comfortable right there. Very nice. Oh, you're a smart dog. Once she starts to get comfortable right there with me being a little ways away from her, then I'll work my way on up this hill. We're gonna go from this little rock outcrop over to this one. Then I'm gonna come up the hill. Now, this is where a lot of people get their, that's okay, cameraman, you can kind of wait there. This is where a lot of people get their, like their adventure socialization, you get it a little backwards. You know, they think that like if you can come up something, you've done your work. Coming up's always easy. It's the going down that's hard. And you guys might have noticed this with your puppies when they were little. Like they would go up the stairs, but they wouldn't come down the stairs very well. So I knew I was going to have a good chance of getting Tosca to come up this, but now we're going to go down and we're going to really work on her being sure-footed, because once they start sliding a little bit, sometimes they'll panic. So come on, Tosca. Let the cameraman get back there a little bit. Oh my gosh. Now we're going to come to the same rock outcrop. Come around. Oh my gosh, right there. So I'm taking her back to a familiar spot. And then we'll pause a little bit right here and then let the cameraman get in position. I'm going to go down this series of rocks right here, cameraman. And this right here, guys, is where if I'm going to have trouble, I'm going to have the most trouble. Very nice, because this is like where these leaves are on these rocks. Watch. You see that right there? You'll think that you have good footing, and you have to learn to test it. So when you're out, like if you ever come to see me, we'll go to the gorge, the Red River Gorge, and you'll be in a lot of spots like this where there are paths, and look at these big rocks. They seem like 100% for sure they're going to stay in place. And you put your weight on one wrong, and next thing you know, you've broken your ankle. Well, the same thing happens with your dogs. Dogs become very dexterous over time with experience, right? But like, there's all these little jagged holes in these rocks. And so when we used to try to bring older dogs to go adventuring with us, like say just a buddy of mine would want to come, just the risk of injury was too high. And so now, watch. You see that? Look, you see this whole sheet sliding? That's something the dog has to learn. So if you plan on taking your dog hiking, guys, you have to put in this, this formal work first. See, watch, see? There we go. She has to learn that she can't just trust these rocks to stay in place. And over the course of just it doesn't take long, but a few months of work, the dogs will really become experts at placing their feet and testing what they're on. In a little while, we're going to go down to the creek, and we're going to do the same thing on the ice, and you'll see that dogs learn real quickly, like how to test the ice with their feet. And if you ever see a dog that's fallen through the ice, most of the time that's just a dog that just doesn't have much experience on the ice. Okay, cameraman, go on down there so I can show them. We're going to come right on down this whole little series of rocks. So if you want to get on the other side of that. Now, one of the things you'll notice is you see how her tongue's hanging out a little bit. A lot of times you'll hear me talk about the tongue as being a fatigue meter. It shows you that they're tired. This little dog's tongue wasn't hanging out because it's really cold today until we started doing this kind of stuff. But since she started getting a little bit nervous, okay, then you start seeing these stress reactions. Her tongue comes out a little bit. You can see that she's stressed, yawning a little bit. And when we're going adventuring with a dog, we want to have gotten all that stress kind of dealt with before an actual adventure. We do it in our pre-adventure training, Oh, come on, nerd, you can do it. Right down the rocks. Very nice. Oh, and you notice I'm up here doing it with her because I don't want her to think she can't trust me. I'll go this way, cameraman. One of the things that pops up with these breed-specific videos is everybody asks me, hey, Stonnie, how are the dogs with children? So I've given Tosca's leash to Charlotte, and Charlotte's going to help me finish out this part of our socialization session. So Charlotte, bring the dog on down here, bring it up, put her on the rock. Good. Now, you're going to tell her easy as you come off of the rock. Very nice. Okay, and then you're going to take her and put her onto the next rock. Easy, on the way down. Very nice. Now let's try not to, well, you got to always watch your leash because your leash will kind of get you in trouble because it's going to get wrapped around all the little trees and logs and stuff. All right, now over here we have the perfect obstacle for you and Tosca to both learn on. We have an old tree that's pretty long and pretty straight, and it's, relatively simple to walk on an old tree, but you always have to understand in the dog business that simple and easy aren't the same things, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to have Charlotte walk down this tree, and at some point Tosca is going to get on the tree with her, and our goal is to make some improvement from our first effort. So as Charlotte goes to walk down the tree, like, we need them to walk in cooperation, and they're going to fall off a few times, and that's okay, you know. If they fall off too many times, then I'll step over there and I'll help them balance. Okay, so that's great, Charlotte. Now, see how she led you down the tree? Now wait right there, okay? And then what you want to do is turn around. Now you lead her. So this is what's called a basic lead and follow game. So I'm going to come help Charlotte, because if Charlotte's walking this way, oh, stay right there. If Charlotte's walking this way and Tosca goes to pulling on the leash, then what ends up happening is Charlotte will get unbalanced, okay? So I'm going to come hold the leash as Charlotte walks and give her a little help managing this dog. Very nice. That way, you know, Charlotte can, like, focus on walking on the log herself and not get upset or worried about what Tosca's doing. Come on. But Tosca gets experience both getting to be the leader and getting to be the follower. And you remember how important that was, like when you were in school. Remember how you like to be the line leader sometimes? Well, it's important when you go out and you're adventuring with your dogs that you let the dog be the line leader sometimes. Very nice. Now see if you can walk on off into that holler part of the log, and then turn and face your dog, and like help her come right down through here. And you're gonna kind of guide her and tell her easy, easy, and I'm gonna help her with you. Very nice. Okay, that's perfect. And you guys will notice that the whole time that Tosca and Charlotte were working on that, I was throwing the stick for No Name, and all I was doing there was just adding a little bit of distraction to the exercise. So basically what we do is we work on something, and then once we start getting the hang of it, we just make it a little harder. And we call that a concept called progression based on mastery, you know. And so kind of got up here on the, let me see that, kind of got up here on the log. Good. And I thought that the dog was going to do pretty well. Good. And I thought Charlotte was going to do pretty well. So I made it just a little bit harder for him. Good. But again, whenever we're making things harder for the dog, or if you're a dog trainer and you have students, you want to make things harder, but you don't want to make them so hard that you consistently induce failure, you know. So look, right there. Good. Now this is the tricky part. This is when you know that you have become a log master. Is I want to be able to change directions here and the dog stay on the log. Wait there for just a second. Oh my gosh, can Uncle Stonnie do it? Oh, no. I was trying to show off. That always happens when you're trying to show off. Very nice. Now, if you really want to show off, get you a Labrador Retriever. Watch out, Ruby. Come on, Tosca, you can do it. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, easy. All right, and now Tosca has mastered that little part of the session. Good. So she gets off the leash. Oh my gosh, and she gets to go do what she wants to do. Oh, she's very good dogs. Very, very good dogs. Oh, right, there's my partner right here. My partner. Oh, Tosca, you're going to be tired. And you haven't found one truffle. Kind of disappointed. I wanted to find out what a truffle looked like. All right, cameraman, be super careful, because these rocks and leaves, now that they're thawing, are very, very, very slippery. Guys, you got to socialize your cameraman same as you do the dogs if you want them to have a long and happy life. Very nice. Oh, Tosca! Very good girl. Oh, you a good dog, Tosca. Very good. Very nice. All right, and just like that, we are back at our base camp of our adventure zone, which is super awesome. Give them a shot, cameraman. Here's our big field, and over here, show them where we park our trucks. Come around here. You can see over there, we park our trucks, and then off past our trucks is our cabin, but it's under construction right now, so I can't let you in on it. All right, so now we're gonna go to the creek, and we're gonna finish out this environmental socialization session. Okay guys, now we're gonna put this water dog stuff to the test, right? We're gonna walk down this creek up to my cabin. And so I've got 2 labs, a Jack Russell and a Lagotto Romagnolo, right? Come on, Tosca, come on. Now as we're walking, I have no doubt that Tosca is going to be a trooper. She's done great on this hike, right? And she's going to get in the water, and I think she's going to do perfectly, right? Except this is the big difference for me, and this is what I've just never understood about this curly-haired dogs as water dogs thing, is when we get to the cabin, the labs are going to get out, and the Jack Russell is going to get out, and they're going to shake, and they're going to be dry in just a few seconds, right? Not totally dry, but dry enough to get in the truck. This dog here is going to be wet like a mop because she looks like a mop, which brings me to my second point about their hair, which is people think these dogs with indeterminate hair growth cycles are hypoallergenic because they don't shed as much. No, they don't shed as much, but they're like having a giant dust mop that you just go on a hike with, and everything on your hike, they get a sample of it, and they bring it home, and then they shake off in your house, and so they bring everything, all the allergens from your hike back into your home. Come on, dogs. Come on, babies. Come on, come on. Very nice. Very nice dogs. Oh, the good babies. Now, the one thing I'll give Tosca is she's not avoiding the water, not even a little bit. She's tromping right through there, and it's pretty cold. It's about 34, 35 degrees right now. And this water's pretty cold because, you know, like the creek's still got quite a bit of ice on it. Now, remember I was telling you guys earlier about making sure to socialize your dogs to ice, and because you'll see dogs that kind of fall through the ice. You know, you always see those stories where like some brave fireman or somebody's going out into like a frozen pond and rescuing a dog. If you get your dogs out when they're young and you teach them about ice, which I know is not always practical, but if you do it, you won't run into that problem too often. See what just happened to that lab? She fell through the ice, and that teaches her a lesson. Guys, you have to have, you know, everybody thinks about socialization, but people underestimate the value of puppies having, you know, relatively negative, like repetitions during the socialization process. Like the puppies need to grow up and understand that life's not just a bowl of cherries. There's bad things that can happen. Like right now our creek's up and the cameraman's boots, she didn't have on her tall boots. So like I could like ask her to walk over here and be really careful. But what I'm gonna let her do is walk up along the creek bank there, and that way she doesn't end up getting water in her boot. If you guys will remember from one of our adventures this summer, my daughter was wearing short boots and got water in her boots, and she learned a very valuable lesson, which is don't get in the water over your boots. And you got to get out and you got to experience everything in life. Okay, cameraman, go on up over there. All right, come on, dogs. Very nice. Oh, you coming to check in? You're very smart, Lagotto. Oh. Whoa. Uncle Stonnie just about got some cold water socialization. Oh, come on, Ruby, you can do it. Ruby just fell through a little ice over there, I think. Come on, Tosca. Okay, so look, it's a perfect place for the dogs to learn about ice. Isn't too deep, you know. And you can see, watch, as Ruby walks, she can start to hear the ice breaking, you know. And since she fell through the ice just a second ago, like that little bit of information that the environment is providing for her means a lot more to her now, you know. You guys remember what I'm always saying in these videos is the dogs learn, you know, to adapt through adversity. So you got to put a little stress on them, you know, and then when you stress them a little bit, that's when their minds and their bodies learn to adapt. It's called the adaptation principle. Very nice. I'm lucky that I have this awesome creek that's got some deep spots in it, but it's also got some nice shallow spots in it. I don't know if you guys will be able to hear on the video, but like the ice kind of creaks and cracks, and the ice makes a different sound depending on how frozen it is. Tosca, come. Tosca, Tosca, Casa, come on. Come here, nerd, check in. Very nice. Now, as the dogs get fatigued, you'll notice that Tosca's recall is not quite as prompt as it was when we first started. Well, I take that back. Kind of went through a cycle, right? When we first got here, her nose was to the ground and she was running off and wasn't paying any attention to me. And then once she kind of got settled, then she stayed pretty close and she came super fast. Now, as the day's drawing to an end, her recall will get a little sluggish just because she's kind of tired. You know, now she'll probably stay closer and check in more, but as far as how quickly she comes when I call her, that'll probably not be quite as impressive. Okay, cameraman, you might not want to walk right here because this is pretty sketchy. Oh, it's very good dogs. Tosca, Tosca, Tosca. So she's gonna go over open water, ice that's moving, open water, and then onto the bank. Trying to get as many experiences per environmental socialization session as possible. Oh my gosh, very good girl. Did you learn you a lesson there, little Jack Russell? Come on, let's get out of this creek. Oh my gosh. All right, now let me get a leash on Tosca. Because, see what she's fixing to do? She's fixing to roll around in some deer poop. Every time we come out into this open field, because I get deer that congregate up here, you know, every evening. And so these dogs, they all love deer poop, every one of them. But some of them love it more than others. And she's one of them that loves it a lot. Okay, so where are we on the breed, okay? You saw her go on the same hike as 2 Labradors and a Jack Russell, and she did awesome. I mean, she's a little bit of a slave to her nose. She's running off, and you know, but she came back really well. I thought that was pretty awesome. We got into the creek. She loved being in the creek. She got right in there, super brave, pretty sure-footed little dog. Okay, now let me just explain to you, just from a guy that, you know, I'm with dogs all day, and so I have to think about how much effort it takes to manage each dog. This is where these kind of dogs kind of get me, right? Number one, just a little bit on the timid side, so you gotta be a little bit more careful in terms of noise and your preliminary socialization. Then when you get in the water, look at this, guys. Like, you know those labs? I'm just gonna let them shake and then towel them off and then put them in the truck, and they're gonna be pretty much dry. I mean, by the time we get back to the kennel. This dog, see how wet she is? It's gonna be wet for a while. Now this is the other thing. Remember I was warning you about this up on top of the bluff there. It's gonna take me 45 minutes to kennel to pick out all these little pieces of debris from her coat and to make sure that she doesn't have any briars up in her armpits, in her groin, around her bottom. Look at that. You see this? Look at this. You know, all that kind of stuff. See, look right here around her bottom. Okay, you wouldn't want that on your bottom, you see? And so I got to pull those out. Well, when I pull them out, like, it ain't very comfortable. So it's kind of like every time we go on an adventure, I have to end the day doing something that's not super comfortable for her. And that's, you know, again, you can alleviate some of that with sanitary grooming, but to be honest with you, it's just a lot of trouble, you know. So if you're going to get one of these dogs, I mean, I think they're nice. I think they're cool. They can definitely go do all the stuff the other dogs can do. They're easy to train in terms of, like, they're very pattern cognizant, so it doesn't take long to housebreak them. It doesn't take long to develop pretty good recall. They're not the best stayers in the world. I would say the only thing that doesn't make me super happy with them is just the coat, you know. So if you can deal with the coat, then that's an awesome dog for you. And if you can't deal with the coat, then just you know, have a groomer come to your house or take the dog to the groomer every month or so and get a puppy cut, and then in between each week do a sanitary grooming around their privates and around their eyes, you know. And so I hope this helps you make a decision as to whether or not a Lagotto Romagnolo is right for you. All right, I'll see you guys next time.